Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Fpl Yathu podcast, whereby we bring you different tips on fantasy Premier League football. Yeah, with me, your host is Wellington Izande, and let's dive into today's program. So today's program, first of all, as tradition, we always look at the matches that happened in Game Week 7, and then after that, we're going to the things we're going to look at today. First of all, we're going to look at the best strikers who can play alongside Erling Haaland. Despite that, we're going to look at who has the best fixtures so far. So we're going to look at two big teams. Another thing that we're going to touch is who has the most defensive contributions, and also going to look at the latest crucial fixture injuries. There's some players who have crucial fixtures and they're injured, so we're going to look at that. Despite that, we're also going to look at different. We're also going to look at different important FPO players that are injured. And after that, we're going to look at the most transferred in players, most transferred in player, and most transferred out player. We're not going to look at everyone, but then we're just going to look at the most transferred. Besides that, we're also going to check out the Wildcard by one of the FPO experts, which is Pranil Sepp. So we're going to look at his Wildcard, and after that, we're going to pick a captain, and then we'll look at the Game Week 8 matches. I'm going to make the predictions. Today's episode only includes me. We don't have any guests in the studio, so let's dive in. All right. So last week, before we went for the international break, we had interesting matches. Beginning with the Bournemouth and Fulham match, which ended 3-1 to Bournemouth. I feel like Bournemouth now really has good assets. If we talk about their defense, they have Senesi, who's been giving those good defensive contributions. Despite that, we also look at the midfield star boy this season, Antoine Semenyo. He's been on form, and I believe anyone who has Semenyo must be maybe having 300 if you have a good team, 300 points, because that guy has I think personally given about maybe 50 points, if 60 something points. So if you've captained him in some games, those are 100 something points just from one player. All right, so moving into the next match, that Bournemouth and Fulham match was on Friday. And moving on the Saturday matches, October 4, we had Leeds versus Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur, which ended 2-1. We also had Manchester United versus Sunderland, which ended 2-0. Manchester won. We had Arsenal versus West Ham, which ended also 2-0. And then we had the big game last week, Chelsea versus Liverpool, which Chelsea won 2-1. It was really a dope game. Alright, so moving on to Sunday matches, we had Wolves versus Brighton, which was a draw game, 1-1. We also had Aston Villa versus Burnley, which ended 2-1. We also had Newcastle and Nottingham Forest, whereby Newcastle won 2-0. And the new boy Watermaid, I think, was on the scoreline. We also had another match, Everton versus Crystal Palace, whereby Crystal Palace lost their first match this season against Everton. And we also had a match between Brentford and Manchester City on Sunday, whereby Manchester City won 1-0. So those are the games that took place in the Premier League before the international break. But then I won't touch much on performances of last week because we had the international break. So players go through different stages. Musaga with my career. Enamaka, I know my injury. Enamakas, I did my injury. Also my injury. The ayuza wambiri ku national team yawe amyama 90 minutes muna magame away then mazabe it's difficult kuri ubona the performance ya game week yo marisi yandi yomeza kale yan game week yuberayi. It's really different. All right, so going to the first point, the best striker to put alongside Haaland right now. I saw this question when I was going through the Premier League app, and then I was like, I think I should add this in my podcast today. So thinking of the best striker you can add alongside who's this Erling Haaland. I think the first striker is Watermaid. Otame, the Newcastle guy. The guy came with a straight impact. He's been scoring in the past games he's been playing. So Waterman is a guy that I would uh, suggest you guys that you should buy. And looking at his price too, I think he's going to be bringing those points. And also we can look at the Brentford striker Igor, if that's his name. But then yeah, that guy has also been on fire. He's been scoring for Brentford. Like he's taken over Wisa's place and Beumo's place. So I think getting that guy as a backup striker too, someone who you can maybe put on the bench or maybe start inside. Igor is one guy that you guys should look at. Another guy is Sesko. I think Sesko has now got his shooting boots, and I think Manchester United are now like beginning to like take shape, because Sesko scoring is I think past 2 games. Yeah, so Sesko is one guy you guys can also look at. But despite that, some differential strikers, we can look at Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck was back on the score sheet. I think last weekend, or if not 2 weekends ago, against Chelsea. And despite that, we also have João Pedro. Even though João Pedro is tricky now, because I think he's being played as a number 9, and the guy is not naturally a number 9. He usually plays behind Dilap. So I really think it's going to be tough to have Pedro now, and with Cole Palmer's absence, it's really difficult for João Pedro to get those balls. He's different from other strikers who like actually go to the center to fetch the ball and then start attacking. Whilst João Pedro is a skillful guy whereby he just wants to weave through the defense. So those are the best strikers you guys can put besides Haaland. But then if you guys think that you can add more ideas on that, you can drop it in the comment section. And also, the second point we're going to look at is who has the best fixtures in fantasy. The first team I looked at was Arsenal. Arsenal has the best fixtures in fantasy Premier League because Arsenal, looking at their first matches, Arsenal pushed with like difficult matches. They had to play against Newcastle, they had to play against Liverpool, they had to play against Manchester City. But now they're going to face teams like Fulham, Crystal Palace, Burnley, and Sunderland. Those are like their next 4 matches. So looking at those matches, I think Arsenal is one team that has like a lower FDR. And another team that has a lower FDR is Chelsea. Chelsea has Nottingham Forest, Sunderland, Spurs, and Wolves. Looking at these fixtures, with the way Chelsea is playing, because sometimes I know Chelsea isn't consistent, but then if Chelsea picks up the pace that they left from Liverpool's game, I think Chelsea also has like easy fixtures. But just for some differential teams, I think Leeds also has like easy fixtures ahead of them, and West Ham too, because Nuno Espirito now is the new coach, and the team looked good when they played against Arsenal, even though they lost, but then the team looked balanced, because I wasn't expecting Arsenal to win 2-0. I was expecting Arsenal maybe to win 6-0, 5-0, because Chelsea beat West Ham with so much goals. So yeah, those are like some teams which have like easy fixtures coming ahead. The other point that we're going to look at is who has the most defensive contributions. All right, so this season, like we have like a new feature whereby if a player gives defensive contributions, which includes tackles, which includes blocks, interceptions, things like that, these players are going to be getting like points, 2 points. So let me say normally a player gets 2 points and then they get a clean sheet, that's 3 points, and then defensive contributions, that's like 5 points. So yeah, we have some players who've been like been benefiting from the contributions, and with the defensive contributions, right? Some players have been given consistent points, like been given, let me say, 4 this week, 5 this week, 4 this week, 5 this week, 4 this week, 5 this week, and it's not rare to get like those type of points like week in and week out, because usually it's 2 points, 1 point, and then a 7, and then 2 points, 1 point. But imagine if you're captaining that guy who's getting 4, 5, 4, 5. That's like 10. Just an example, right? You don't have to captain it. So the first player we have Marcos Senesi, the Bournemouth player. This guy has been benefiting a lot from the defensive contributions, because on the list he's in the top 3. And another player, we have James Tarkowski, just like last season. James Tarkowski topped the defensive contributions, and this season it's the same thing again. And another player we can look at is Anderson for Fulham. He's also been delivering defensive contributions, and with the points these guys get, I think it's really fair, especially for who's this Senesi. Senesi has really been performing, giving assists. So I think if you want to get defenders, look at this place. And mind you, this week I'm using my wildcard. So after this, I'm going to post my team that I've played my wildcard on. So if anyone's doing a wildcard, you can check out my team. I mean, doesn't bite to steal some ideas. All right, so moving on to the next section. Section 4, latest crucial fixture injuries. We know we have like some crucial fixtures coming up ahead. Liverpool has a crucial fixture, Everton has a crucial fixture, different teams, Brighton and all that. So there are some players that are going to be out, and despite that, we're also going to look at crucial players in FPL that are also missing due to injury. The first player that we're looking at is Konate. Konate is a good defender who's been given good defensive contributions and clean sheets from Liverpool. But then Konate, he's currently out. Odegaard too. Odegaard hasn't been sharp this season, but then I think Odegaard is that guy on the day when he can give you those nice points, because he usually gives assists and he scores goals. Another player we are looking at is Rodri. We expected Rodri to be back this season, but then he also hopped out during the Brentford game. So Rodri's out. Noni Madueke is also out. I'm not sure when, but then he's also a crucial player in FPL who gives points. Oli Watkins had the knock. I'm not really sure if he's back, but then if you have Oli Watkins, you should think of either benching him or maybe selling him before it's too late. There's Anthony too from Burnley. Anthony has really been sharp, guys. Let's just stop here. Anthony has really been sharp, even though he has a knock. But then in the last, I think, 5 game weeks, in the last 5 games he's played, he's been given contributions. So guys, let's look at these small team players, likes of Burnley players, Leeds players. Let's look at these guys. And then we have Mitoma too. Mitoma is out. Cole Palmer, Rodrigo Muniz, Raul Jimenez, Liam Delap. These guys are out. Crucial players. So if you have any of these guys in your team, get them out, guys, because you're wasting points. I've seen some guys in our league, in the Fpl Yathu league, they have players who have been injured out from Gameweek. Bro, why are you still keeping Cowell? Why are you still keeping Palmer? Why are you still keeping so and so? Kai Havertz. Don't keep those guys. Sell those guys, because they're going to lose you points. All right, so we also look at the most transferred in player and most transferred out player, guys. This stat is insane. I didn't expect it to be like this. I expected it to be the other way around. The most transferred in player is Antoine Semenyo. Let's respect the guy. He's been playing good. Yeah, giving good points and all that. But the most transferred out player this week, Mohamed Salah, guys. No. We should ask ourselves, why has Salah been transferred out? And I have the answer. Salah has been transferred out because the returns he's been given, Semenyo has been given better returns than Mohamed Salah. But if you look at the price, Salah is more expensive than Semenyo. It doesn't make sense. Salah is 14 point something million. Semenyo is 7.9 million. Why waste money on Salah, who's giving you 5 points in the game, and you're even in captaining him? Instead of getting Semenyo. Get Semenyo, and drop out Salah. So I mean, this stat doesn't lie, and I expected it to even be like that. I really expected it to be like that because Salah this season has dropped off. If you have Salah, guys, sell him. And guys, let's stop this thing whereby we're used to keeping this players because they were performing in the previous season. Things have changed, guys. So if you want to keep a player because he's been performing in the past, guys, you're not going to win anything in FPL. Neither a game week, nor a month, or the whole season. All right, so moving on to our sixth point, is who are we going to captain? So for myself, I'm going to captain Erling Haaland, but you can also captain different guys. Like I can say, you can captain maybe Ekitike for Liverpool because he's home against Manchester United. And also, you can also captain Kudus because he's going against Aston Villa, which looks shaky at the moment. And Kudus has really been banging those assists and goals. Besides that, you can also captain Bournemouth because it looks like Crystal Palace are breakable. But then are they breakable at home? So you can captain Semenyo. So yeah, those are the guys that I can suggest you guys should captain. Looking at Chelsea, I'm not sure who you can captain right now. Even though I'm a Chelsea fan, but I'm not sure. But then I'm going to captain Erling Haaland. If you guys have Mohamed Salah, I mean, you can captain him because the Old Trafford is his home. Don't forget that. You can captain Mohamed Salah. So for the guys who even transferred him out, guys, I hope you don't cry. I really hope you don't cry. All right, so moving on to point 7, Wildcard by one of the FPL experts, Pranil Set. This guy gave us a wildcard. It's also on the Premier League Cup. So I really love the wildcard. This is the first expert wildcard that I'm actually using from that application or the FPL show. So Pranil has Nick Pope and Dubravka in goals. Those are the guys he bought. In defense, he has Gabriel, Julian Timber, Senesi, Koeman, and Rondon. Koeman, I think, plays for Burnley, and Rondon plays for. Koeman plays for Aston Villa, and Rondon plays for Leeds. And then in midfield, he has Saka, Semenyo, Enzo Fernandez, Pep Matsa, and Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. In strikes, he has Erling Haaland, he has Darren Bourne, and he has João Pedro. So this is Pranil Set's world card. I also looked at the world card. I was like, damn man, this team looks good, but then I can't copy the exact team because I also have my own ideas. But then there were some players that I was like, damn, this player must pick. Like Semenyo, I have Semenyo. Haaland, obviously, I have Haaland. Well, who would sell Haaland? That's crazy. Saka, I don't have Saka. I have Gabriel. I picked some players, and you guys can pick some players too. So that was on the wildcard by Pranil Set. And I'm also going to show you my wildcard. I'm going to post the team on my TikTok so you guys can check it out. And now we're on the last point, game week 8 matches, So I'm going to tell you the match and I'm going to give you the prediction. We have first match at half 1, Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. Chelsea's away. Traveling to Forest. This game is really a tight one, but then I think I'll give it to Chelsea, a 3-0 straight win. We have Brighton versus Newcastle United. Brighton is home and Newcastle is away. This is a tight match. I think I'm going to give it a draw game. We have Burnley versus Leeds United. Both teams were promoted, and Burnley is actually doing better than Leeds, so I think I'll give it to Burnley 2-1. Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth. This is also a tight match, but I think goals will be scored because both teams have strong attacks. Besides both teams having good defenses, but then I think today their defenses will be broken. I think it's a 2-2 game. Manchester City versus Everton. I think Manchester City is going to win this one 4-2. Sunderland versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think Sunderland are going to beat Wolverhampton Wanderers because Wolves hasn't been on their game this season. So I think Sunderland can win this game 2-0 or 1-0 or 2-1. Fulham versus Arsenal. Fulham is at home against Arsenal. This game I will give it a slight win to Arsenal 1-0 or maybe a draw even. Moving on to Sunday matches, we have Tottenham Hotspur versus Aston Villa. Hotspur is going to win this game for sure. I think maybe 3-2, 3-1. Liverpool versus Manchester United, the big game. This game is really hard to predict, guys, because we all know Man United isn't playing good. But then, despite even if Man United isn't playing good, this is a big game, guys. Man United turns up for big games like this. They're made for big games like this. Because even the Chelsea match, Man United wasn't meant to win that match, but then they ended up winning that match. So it's really going to be a tough one. But then I expect Liverpool to win because they can't lose. I think like maybe 4 games in a row now, and losing to Man U again, it's really going to be surprising. But then I'm going to give this one to Liverpool with a 1-0 or 2-0 win. And then we have West Ham United versus Brentford. This is going to be a tight match, but then I think it's going to end in a draw game, either 2-2 or 1-1. So this is all I had for you this week at Fpl Yathu. But besides that, we also had like our program, our other program whereby we make predictions of the big game, and people gave me different predictions, which I'm also going to be posting together with this video or before this video. And the winner there is going to get 8,000 Malawi kwacha. Last week the winner was Chinsisi. He's a Newcastle supporter, the first Newcastle supporter I've ever met in Malawi, and surprisingly also he won last week's prediction after he predicted that Chelsea is going to win the game 2-1, exactly what he said Chelsea won. So today also we had different guys giving us different predictions. And if you want to win that amount of money, you can also drop a prediction at our TikTok page or on our YouTube page once we drop the predictions or the big game predictions program. But that's all we had for you. You're with me, your boy Zoliti Nizande, the host of Fpl Yathu program. See you next time.